Here in this case, we'll try to understand how to define, how to measure the model through the questionnaire. So what we understood that we can design a model on the basis of the research theory or on the basis of the theoretical framework of the research. So theoretical framework of the research or the research theory guide us how to design a research model for the research. So once you find out the research model, so then you identify the variable that is there in the case of the research model. Here we find out this research model is all about the mental accounting biases that a investor used to suffer uh, in the stock investment in terms of the source of income and the mode of payment. Suppose how the source of income and the mode of payment. So let me give small example. The source of income, suppose you earn 20 lakhs out of your hard income or your regular salary income, and you earn 20 lakh out of your stock investment. So 20 lakh out of your stock investment, it is very likely that you will reinvest at least 50% of that into the further stock investment. But when it comes to the taking decision, the part of the money that you want to invest from your regular income, you may be hardly investing 20% of the additional income for your stock investment. So in the first case, it may be out of 20 lakhs, maybe there are 4 lakhs you want to invest. But in the second case, out of 20 lakhs from the stock earnings, you may be tempted to invest 50%, almost 10 lakhs. So here the 20 lakhs is 2 million. So the 20% of 2 million is 0.4 million. In the case of 20 lakhs, in the case of income from the stock investment is 2 million, and the 50% of means 1 million you want to reinvest in the stock market. So next, another the mode of payment. If you are paying the stock anything through the cash or through the online mode of payment. If you are paying anything through the online mode of payment, you don't feel the pain of paying the amount. Suppose you want to pay $20,000 or 20,000 rupees for certain project. When you will pay through the cash, you will feel a pinch or a pain of paying. But if you will be paying it through the online mode or through the digital mode, you may not feel that pain. So the mode of payment also that determine the mental accounting that also the income or the money how much you value that also determine in term of the mode of payment. So the pain you feel out of that payment that can be determined through the mental accounting bias. Now, these two independent behavioral biases in human nature, how that is going to influence in the stock investment approach. So that is the dependent variable DM2, independent IM2 and IM5. So here, look into the data, we are trying to find out a association of this two variable with the dependent variable, how strongly they are associated or they are independent, that we want to test in the model. So to measure IM2, IM2 and IM5, what I did, I frame a questionnaire. So through the questionnaire, I will be trying to understand or I'll be trying to measure this two terms. So, remember, if we are trying to measure IM2 and IM5, so in the IM5, IM2, the behavioral biases that is being measured, like suppose your aunt gifted you rupees 30,000 on your first marriage anniversary to buy a suit. What will you do? Definitely, I'll fulfill the wish of the aunt and buy the near suit of near rupees 30,000. Or rupees 30,000 is a big amount for the suit. I will like to save a large part of it. Alternatively, if you want to buy rupees 30,000 worth suit out of your hard income, what is the probability? So you'll find the person when he received the amount in form of gift, and because of emotional attachment with the person who has gifted him or her, so say take a decision, okay, this is one time spending, so she or he will be tempted to buy the thing. But when he is trying to buy something very luxurious or very valuable out of his hard income, so he or she become too much cautious. So it's the same amount, but the accounting about that same amount differ on the basis of the source of income or the source of generation. So in IM3, how likely you are going to buy a suit rupees 30,000 from your hard earning, either from business or from job. So the when suit are available at the cost of 6,000, 7,000, at most 10,000, why should he buy such a high value item from his hard income? He will be bit conservative or frugal. So this way, each and every independent variable is getting measured through a question. So I should frame a question with respect to my variable that is exhibited in my model. So let us try to see the independent variable IM5. Are your friends are more cautious and rational when they pay through the cash or credit cards for the dinner at a restaurant? What is your perception about your friend? When they pay in cash, they are more cautious and rational. When they pay through credit card, they are more cautious but irrational. They are indifferent to the mode of payment. So, like when you buy something by paying cash, by searching 10 shops, and you feel okay, you may postpone your buying. But when you are buying something through the online shopping and through your credit or debit card, you may not feel, and you sometimes you end up your buying irrationally. So IM5 used to measure that biases, and on the basis of these two biases, how the so on the basis of these two mental accounting biases, I want to measure the dependent variable, the behavioral biases person exhibit in stock investment. Suppose your regular annual income is rupees 30 lakhs, and at the end of the last financial year you received unexpected additional income of rupees 10 lakhs out of the stock investment. Out of additional 10 lakhs income, how much will you like to bet on the additional stock investment? Write the amount in figure. When you do this, ask these questions, almost on an average, it is being found the investor want to reinvestment of his income from the stock investment, uh, that out of this uh, 10 lakh um, 10 lakh rupees, he will be likely to on an average we found it is 6.7 lakhs, or it is just near to the 6 to 7 lakhs. But same question when it is being asked, so you end up your additional income from the project and additional 10 lakhs income, you like you work day and night in a project and you earn additional 10 lakhs as an incentive, as a hard income, as a part of your salary benefit, something you got. Out of this salaries benefit, how much money you want to reinvest in the stock. So then the invariably we found that the investors they are willing to invest only just 20%, around 2.5 to 3 lakhs they are willing to invest. Or but in the first case when they got the same amount 10 lakhs from the stock, investment. In the second case, he is getting the same amount, 10 lakhs, but out of his hard work, day night of your regular project. Then situation is same for both of them, whether it is source of money from the stock investment or whether it is from the hard income. But the situation to which they are going to invest is same for them, but still, if it is the source of money is from the stock investment, he or she will be tempted more to invest in the stock again. And if it is from the regular income, then he will be likely to invest just 20% or 15% part of it to take risk. Rest amount he will like to put into some sort of saving. So this is the way the behavior what he is exhibiting in his personal life. We want to connect with the stock investment behavior in this mental accounting bias that we saw in the. So this is the way the questionnaire design is dependent on the input variable in the model, and for each input variable we may have to frame one questionnaire to find out the variable. And can you see here the mental accounting bias is not just judged by just one item or the one variable. The mental accounting bias in the behavior is getting measured by the two, three different independent variable that to group together to measure the mental accounting bias in his personal life. So not just single questionnaire, and for different kind of mental accounting biases, there are a corresponding question that is being put for the respondent through which we are measuring these individual biases items. Let us judge the second model that they are trying to find out the association between the emotional attachment in his personal life, the behavior with the parents or uncle or the family members, and the stock investment approach on the basis of the emotional attachment. Let us check to measure IM6, the emotional attachment, independent variable in his behavior, the dependent variable, the exhibit in the stock investment, how that is getting measured by the how IM6 and DM3 is getting measured by the. So to measure the IM6, the question is being put that how much emotional you are attached to your parents. Suppose you are going through a checkout in the airport. So in the airport checkout, they found that you are having additional like weight. This is check-in case. The like you have additional 1.5 kilo of your weight in your so luggages, and for that they want to charge a good amount. So now they are charging late 1000 rupees, and the gift like you have two books now. One books which is a birthday gift of your parents, and it is costing you hardly 250 rupees. Another book which is of cost worth 1000 rupees. Now both of them are of same weight of 1.5 kilo, and we want to get rid of one of them, or you want to pay fine. So now, so even if the birthday gift just worth 250 rupees, but it is your the very precious birthday and the precious gift that you have received from the parent, it's very very memorable, and will you like to give away that book? So for in the mental accounting, because of emotional attachment, person value more to 250 rupees than 1100 paying fine of rupees 1150. So this mental accounting bias, the in term of emotional attachment, that I am catching through this question. Similarly, let us see the variable DM3, how the person is trying to catch this mental accounting biases in stock investment through the question. Suppose you inherited 10,000 shares from your father of Z company where he was doing his job. So the company where your father was doing his job, maybe Tata or maybe Microsoft, he is running 10,000 shares of that company. And you have a lot of memory attached to the company in terms of your education and friends. Now it is just 2% of your entire portfolio of equity investment and 1% of your wealth. And currently it is losing its value drastically. What would you do in such a scenario? So it is just 1% of your wealth and 2% of your entire portfolio. So will you like to sell it out? We want to get rid of those shares as they are losing their value, or you will value more to your memories and childhood sustenance or your father parent inheritance to keep those stocks with you in future. So this is the way we want to connect this IM3 of his behavioral biases to stock investment approach in the emotional attachment. So this way we need to capture each and every variable that is represented in the model through different questions. So my question in the questionnaire should be related with my model and the relationship in the model. On that basis my questionnaire should be designed. Let us take another example. Here the model are relating to the representative and availability bias in the stock investment. Here we can see three independent variable and one dependent variable of availability biases. So the availability bias in human nature or in behavior, it is not getting just measured through the one variable. It is getting measured through the three different kind of variables they have identified. And so these three different variables that to be measured through the our questionnaire. So let us see how they are being measured through our questionnaire. So if you'll see the first availability bias, which claims more lives in India in the age group of 15 to 65, selected one: cancer, road accident, suicide, mosquito-induced diseases, and heart diseases. Heart. So if we look into this, the 15 to 65, the most of the respondents they used to give the answer. It may be either cancers or the many of them for the road accidents, and those who recently suffered from the dengue or the malaria, they will put mosquito induced diseases, but the real the answer is the heart disease. So in this case we need to, so we are judging the availability bias of the person through this questionnaire IA1. Similarly, in the case of DA1, we are trying to forecast the growth of the mining sector in 2007 and 8, and we can see there is a steady growth and the things are growing very fast. And even if during the recession of 2007 and 8 the mining sector has grown steadily. So looking into this, then we want to check the availability bias, that how this person is going to predict the future prospect of the growth of the mining sector. So if you look into the seeing this, uh, many of the investors, what they presume, okay, the mining sector, because of 2007 and 8 crisis and because of this problem, they assume that okay, no, this should go down. The trend cannot be sustainable um, or such a hike for such a long period. So then what happened? Many of them either postpone their investment or or they uh, they or they sold out their stocks. So this is the way availability bias factor in the stock investment is getting measured through this questionnaire. And all of us can see the independent variable I2 and I3 also there are specific questions in the questionnaire to measure their representative and availability bias. So this is the way whatever questions we should frame that should connected with our research variable that we have taken for our research model or for the research framework. So the questionnaire design is all depend on. So now we found that on the basis of our past literature review, we identified a research model. In that research model here for the case of stock investment, we identified the different biases, whether disposition, effect, representative, mental accounting, availability, loss aversion in our research model. And on the basis of this research model, now we identify the different variable that is identifying these different biases. We could have put just one question for mental accounting, for disposition, for loss aversion, and just we could have proved this model. But no, that was not enough. And just to prove mental accounting, we identified around 3-4 different kind of biases a person is suffering in his personal life in terms of mental accounting bias. And so different form of mental accounting biases is being tracked in his personal behavior, and different form of mental accounting bias is being tracked in his investment behavior, and accordingly that biases is established. Similarly for the availability and loss aversion, so you need to do a in-depth analysis of the different component of this biases. Then you need to look into on the basis of the different component, you have to frame the questionnaire to capture those components. So here the research objective, research problem found out is again connected with your research objective. Research objective is again helping us out to find out the theoretical framework to go about this research, and on the basis of theoretical framework to find out my objectives, then I'm building a research model. Then to explain the research model and the relationship, I am going for the relational hypothesis, and for to find out those component of this hypothesis, I am devising my questionnaire to find out those biases defined in the model in terms of my hypothesis or proposition. So let us see the example how on the basis of this model the hypotheses are being framed. So you can see there are different hypotheses on mental accounting, availability, representative, and disposition. We can see on the basis of model there is no association between the mental accounting bias in loss in investment approach with the mental accounting bias about loss in normal life. There is no association of mental accounting bias in terms of source of income in normal life with the mental accounting bias in terms of source of income in the investment approach. So there is no association between mental accounting bias in terms of emotional attachment in normal life with a mental accounting bias in terms of emotional attachment in the investment behavior. So on the basis of model, these hypotheses are being generated, and on the basis of hypothesis, these variables which are associated with this hypothesis are getting measured through my questionnaire. So this is the way we should measure our uh, different items defined in the model and the different variable that is defined in my relational hypothesis, because relational hypothesis is all about the relationship between two variables, and those two variables can be measured from this questionnaire. So the questionnaire together they are measuring my different, all these independent variable, I am 1, I am 2, I am 3, together they are measuring whether this person is suffering from mental accounting bias in the behavior, in his personal life behavior. Similarly, DM1, DM2, DM3, all these dependent variable that is measuring the reflection of his behavioral biases in its stock investment approach. So this is the way. There is a group of variable which is defining his stock investment approach. There is a group of independent variable defining his mental accounting biases in his personal life. So this is the way we should frame a questionnaire to go. And research question framing is really a tough task, and it is difficult task. It so you one should follow. So before finalizing the questionnaire, go through the grammatical and spelling mistake in the questionnaire, the sequence and the structure of the questionnaire, that is very, very important. The similar question in the questionnaire should be grouped together, or you need to identify the questionnaire sequencing, that is very important. So different form of questionnaire also vary for the quantitative and for the qualitative research, that you need to check accordingly. You should fill the for frame your questionnaire. First, get it verified from your friends and colleagues in terms of the spelling and the grammatical mistakes. Get it verified from the experts, because so many times you may not, the questionnaire may not be giving all the answer to your variable or the item that is being taken for the study in the research model. So all these independent dependent variables should be uh, measured through this questionnaire, that should be ensured. Get it verified through a sequence of pilot tests. However, academically or grammatically or logically you may be thinking that your questionnaire is correct, don't rush for the mass floating of your questionnaire. Ensure at least get it verified through a sequence of pilot tests. So do a number of pilot tests to finalize your questionnaire. Unless until you do not do pilot test, you will not understand how this questionnaire is going to be understood or interpreted by your respondent. So through the pilot test, you will find out the difficulties the respondent is facing in terms of time constraint, in terms of answering sensibly, or in terms of understanding the questionnaire, or in terms of the privacy issue. So all this you will understand when you will do the pilot test. And pilot test, in the first pilot test, whatever thing you will develop, redevelop and modify, do a second pilot test. Again, the pilot test may be among just 10 to 15 respondents. So through a sequence of pilot tests, then you can restructure or add or delete or modify whatever you feel, and you finally you come forward with a final questionnaire which is error free. Then you float that in the mass. Questionnaire should be followed by a request note. Request notes should consist of the purpose of the study, why you are floating this questionnaire, whether you are sending it through email or you are giving hard copy. The questionnaire should be followed by the request note or the purpose of the study. Why you want to do this study, what is the objective of your study, and all the privacy confidentiality regarding the respondent data, how you are going to preserve, and how are you going to use the data for your future analysis and publication of this study. Where you want to publish, all details should be properly mentioned, so that accordingly the it will infuse the confidence among the respondent to respond, look into your need in this questionnaire. So this is the way we should frame the questionnaire. We should finalize the questionnaire. Questionnaires should not be too lengthy, it should not be too short, which cannot give any meaning to your study. It should not be random or haphazard. It should have a proper structure. It should be meaningful to the respondent, and you should look again and again through the eyes of the respondent, not as a interviewer. So then you have to also finalize how do you float this questionnaire, whether in the Google format, whether through the different softwares available, or you will be floating through the hard copy, or you will go yourself and administer the questionnaire. So questionnaire is also known as the scale, and this questionnaire should be designed on the basis of predefined scales that will be make your research more accurate. If already pre-designed scales are there, it is better to take it forward and modify to little extent, look into your uh, environment, your context, but don't frame a questionnaire altogether new of your one idea, assumption, and perception. Then you have to go through a theory building process to design a scale, or to design a scale which is a proven scale through the confirmatory factor analysis, through the factor analysis. Then only you can have a questionnaire of your own. Otherwise, you have to go through the predefined scale that is there in the research. Then you can take them for your research area, so that that will not be questionable in your research methodology or during your defense or during your review. So this is the way the questionnaire designing on the basis of model, on the basis of pre-designed theory, on the basis of predefined scales, on the basis of tested scales and tested this question, because this questionnaire itself is known as research instrument. This questionnaire is also known as your scales, the through which you are trying to measure your construct, or you are trying to measure the concept of in your research. Like the scale in physical scale, that something measure the weight, something measure the temperature. So this is the scale for the mental accounting. Through these questions, I am measuring the mental accounting biases. So this is a predefined scale. So in this questions which is mentioned in the questionnaire, I show you. So you will find the uh, references are being also mentioned, from which research, from uh, where, from whose study this questions is being taken for the questionnaire designing, that is also being referred, or that is also being mentioned. So let me show you those mentioned author. All of us can see here the questionnaire which is being designed here for the IM1. That is the references is being put. It is extracted from the study of Feynman work of 2008, and the questionnaire for the availability bias representative, it is being taken from the research work of DeBond and Odin, Tejas Odin of 1995. So this way, all this instrument, this questions is also taken from some predefined study, or the from established scale. So this is the way we have to design a beautiful questionnaire with some introduction note, and it should be floated, and it should be interesting also, and it should also be preserving the confidentiality. So then the questionnaire will be perfect. Thank you. So accordingly, you can think forward and carry forward for your research questionnaire design. Thanks. In next session, we look into how to go about framing of questionnaire, what are the different kind of questionnaire, and what are the different kind of scale being used for framing the questions, that we'll understand in the next.